All right, welcome to the Carl Jackson Show, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. A lot going on. I was actually going to do a totally different podcast, but I obviously have to address the news that broke tonight. I'm sure you'll hear about this tomorrow morning by the time Gabe gets this podcast out. But Pete Hegseth, I'll get into that story in just a second. But Matt Gaetz is out as Trump's pick for AG. And Pam Bondi, former AG to Florida, is in. Now, my take on this, listen, Matt Gaetz, regardless of how you might feel about Matt Gaetz, he wasn't, here's where I stand on Matt Gaetz. I felt like Trump deserved to have the pick that would make him feel comfortable given the persecution that he's gone through. There's things about Matt Gaetz that I like. There's things about Matt Gaetz that I dislike. I kind of felt like he was kind of a grifter somewhat to the MAGA thing. But at the same token, I thought he was excellent in the way that he handled questioning on the Hill, the DOJ, and getting into that type of stuff. So I thought he was valuable in that sense. And I thought he could be valuable for Trump. But obviously, there were a lot of things that were senators just weren't going to vote for him on the Hill. So ultimately, he decided to cave. He decided to step aside. He didn't want to be a distraction to the Trump campaign. Now, the word is, from what I understand, is that basically he didn't have the votes in the Senate. You had five Republican senators that said, no way, no how he was getting my vote. One of them, including Mitch McConnell. I forget the other four. One is the MMA guy that said probably a year or two ago that Matt Gaetz was on the congressional floor showing people pictures of some of his escapades or some of the women or what have you. And he was totally disgusted by him then. He ended up being one of the ones that said, no way, no how, it's not going to happen. And he couldn't afford to lose that many senators, obviously. And so the vote just wasn't going to happen for Matt Gaetz. So I'm going to read you some of the quotes, and then Pam Bondi. Here's what I think about Pam Bondi. I think Pam Bondi is a good choice. Now, here's my concern, and now Pam Bondi was a good AG for the state of Florida. She was a really good AG for the state of Florida. In the end, there was a bit of controversy. This is what the left is going to hit her with. I'll share that controversy with you because I doubt that you'll hear it anywhere else until mainstream media starts attacking her. Because listen, now already you can see the headlines and you can see the news hits even on the conservative outlets tonight. What a great pick! What a great pick! What a great pick! And I think she is. I think she is a good pick and a potentially great pick. But I do believe that we need a flamethrower to go in to the DOJ to be the attorney general. And she is more, obviously more subtle. Doesn't mean that she won't do as much as Matt Gaetz. I felt like Matt Gaetz kind of had a chip on his shoulder. That's kind of why I gave him the benefit of the doubt, because I want these departments gutted. There should be no deep state inside of the Department of Justice whatsoever. And I wanted them absolutely gutted. And, perhaps this might work in Trump's favor, frankly, to have Pam Bondi instead of a Matt Gaetz. That probably would have been a little more controversial, but I think he would have gotten the job done. But here's an added benefit for Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi has been an attorney general before, obviously for the state of Florida. She was the attorney general under former Governor Rick Scott for 8 years. All right. So that's going to play. I think that bodes well for her because she'll have a sense of what the job entails, obviously on a macro level, on a larger level, right? Because now it's nationwide as opposed to statewide, but she'll have the benefit of knowing what she's doing. Now, remember, Matt Gaetz, if I recall, had only been practicing law for a few years before he entered Congress. So you definitely, Pam Bondi has that advantage over him. So I'm reading from the Daily Wire hat tip. Again, President-elect Donald Trump announced today that he has already selected a replacement for his nominee as U.S. Attorney General for former Representative Matt Gaetz. And again, of course, that's obviously Pam Bondi. Now, I thought this was a brilliant move. A lot of people were talking about Representative Matt Gaetz. It was 3D chess. Trump was playing. I don't believe it was that at all. I believe that Trump suffers from PTSD, basically. I mean, this was a man that gave up his lifestyle in a sense, right? Worked for free as the president of the United States because he wanted to make this country a better place. He thought it was going down the toilet. And for that, he was persecuted. I mean, and then the lawfare that we still see to this day with Alvin Bragg and Judge Juan Merchan literally just basically suspending or postponing his case until after the man is out of the White House, which is totally insane, should not be done. Alan Dershowitz said it is completely unethical to do what they're doing, and it puts Trump on a path where he can't even apply for appeal, which is absolutely wrong. But nonetheless, that's what we see. That's what the left did with Trump. So this is why I want him to have the benefit of the doubt when it comes to his picks, simply because look at what the man has endured. Whether you like him or not, he's got to feel like he has people in place that are not just competent, but they won't be people that'll stab him in the back. Here's what Pam Bondi said. I am proud to announce former Attorney General of the great state of Florida, or this is what Trump said, I'm sorry, Pam Bondi as our next Attorney General of the United States. Pam was a prosecutor for nearly 20 years where she was very tough on violent criminals and made the streets safe for Florida families. Trump highlighted Bondi's record as the first female Attorney General of Florida, noting that she worked to stop drug traffickers and the fentanyl crisis that we had, or problem that we had right here in Florida and in America's streets. Trump said that she did such an incredible job that I asked her to serve on our opiate and drug abuse commission during my first term. And he says that we saved many lives. He says, for too long, the partisan Department of Justice has been weaponized against me and other Republicans, but not anymore. Pam will refocus the DOJ to its intended purpose of fighting crime and making America safe again. And Bondi also recently appeared on Fox News to talk about the FEMA corruption. Here's what she had to say about that. Quote, I think they need to find out if it's systemic, and it sounds like it is. She went on to talk about the people that had the Trump signage in North Carolina, or actually that was in the state of Florida. And she said, these are Americans who are having their civil rights violated because they chose to have a Donald Trump sign in their front yard. She also defended him when Mark Cuban came out and said Trump never has intelligent women, strong, intelligent women around him. She was at a rally maybe a day or two after, or shortly thereafter, and said, absolutely, yes, he does. You know, she was one of them. And she talked about how he had several strong, intelligent women around him. And frankly, you see that. Honestly, the women that Trump hires, they're always good looking, but they're always highly successful. That's his modus operandi. It's the weirdest thing, but it's true. They're always good looking, but they're always intelligent, and they're always skilled and highly successful. That's what he goes with. Now, when it comes to Representative Matt Gaetz, and a lot of people again loved Matt Gaetz simply because he was a flamethrower. He's a firebrand. Had a podcast, maybe he still does, called Firebrand. This is a guy, when it came to questioning, he was one of the best at getting at the DOJ, getting at, Christopher Wray, or when he was questioning General Mark Milley back in the day, that whole white rage, back and forth between them. I mean, he is really good on the Hill. But here's the problem. The allegations, there were reports leaking. There were more and more reports leaking. This is what Washington does. They did not want Matt Gaetz, but they may have just done themselves more damage, because essentially they may have gotten a Matt Gaetz, but a more competent Matt Gaetz, less of a flamethrower, but perhaps more efficient. We'll have to wait and see, because I want Pam Bondi to go in there and dismantle the joint. but I want her to do it with a smile. So that's probably what she'll be able to bring to the table. But here, Matt Gaetz was under, the reports were that he slept with a 17-year-old girl. Apparently, there was another story that came out that there was a second 17-year-old girl that he allegedly slept with. But the reason he wasn't, it was investigated by the Department of Justice. They didn't press charges. All right. They didn't press charges because apparently, at least the word is he didn't know that at least one of the girls was 17. So it wasn't like he was sex trafficking people. Apparently, he drove with one of the girls, at least one of the girls, as far as I know, over state lines, which states I don't even know, to be honest with you, and apparently slept with the girl without knowing. And once he found out that she was underage, he stopped sleeping with her. So that news comes out. Obviously, that's not good. That's not what people want to hear. That made it extremely difficult. And I'm sorry if you're sitting there sharing, pictures and telling stories of your masquerades on the congressional floor. That's just stupid. I mean, that is just stupid. Now that's according to man, and I forget the senator's name. I think it's Senator Mullen, I believe is his name. And I should have had that audio video for you. But nonetheless, that's the deal. He wasn't going to get past the Senate. It wasn't happening. The Senate has the right to advise and consent. I believe that Trump needs to get the picks that he wants. But there are some people that are still there that's just like, this is not going to happen. That's fine. He's got Pam Bondi now. Now, Pam Bondi, again, she also defended Trump. You guys may recall in his impeachment hearings, I believe she worked with America First Legal, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I believe she did. Anyway, I'm sure it's literally right in front of me, and right now I don't have it highlighted where I can see it. 20 years. Pam was a prosecutor for nearly 20 years. She was very tough on violent criminals. There's more to this. She did more than that. Let me see. I must have had it pulled up. I just want to make sure that I get, here it is. Okay. It's on, I have something else put up on Daily Signal. I'm just trying to give you as much, information as I can. As far as her experience, Bondi, a prosecutor in Hillsborough County, Florida, served as Florida's 37th Attorney General from 2011 and 2019. I shared that with you. First woman to serve in that role. She was one of Trump's lawyers during his first impeachment trial in early 2020. Earlier this year, she led the legal arm of the America First Policy Institute. Okay, so that's a think tank started by veterans of the first Trump administration. Okay. All right. So, so she's a Trump loyalist, and he's got to feel good, not just that the person is competent, but that they're going to be a loyalist, that they aren't going to stab him in the back. And I think that he deserves that. I don't think she'll have any problem selling through confirmation, but I do want to share this because this is what you're going to start hearing right away, just so you know, because the hits are already going out. I was reading a column on Forbes. So here's what they say. Now, this was part of the controversy that we started hearing about, or the left started attacking her on. I think this was during her latter years as the AG of Florida, or afterwards. But it says here, and again, Forbes is a left-wing attack dog, basically. It's not Forbes doesn't run it anymore. He sold it a long time ago. Bondi 59 will be tasked with refocusing the DOJ to its intended purpose of fighting crime and making America safe again. That's a statement from Trump. Now, they say Bondi has worked as a prosecutor for more than 18 years. It's 20, according to her profile page at the Ballard Partners lobbying firm. That's where she now works, and served as Florida's Attorney General again. All right, same information. Here's the attacks from Forbes. Bondi is also a 2020 election denier. That's how they're going to come at her, who insisted Trump won Pennsylvania. He lost the state to Joe Biden by 81,000 votes and oversaw voting-related lawsuits following the election, according to the New York Times. Now, we can all be skeptical about this election integrity issue, given the fact that county commissioner that has now come out and apologized. And now Scott Pressler has gone to one of these committee meetings, county commission meetings in Bucks County, and said, I'm coming after your seat in 2026. So she is on notice. She is on blast. Diane Ellis, I forget her name, Seglia or whatever it was. But anyway, so that's that. Now, Forbes says also the former AG of Florida, Pam Bondi, was accused of taking a $25,000 donation allegedly linked to her office's decision to not investigate alleged fraud at Trump University. Though she denied the donation's link to the inaction and avoided charges over a bribery complaint that fell flat in Florida in 2017. So that's what the left, this is what you got to be prepared for. I don't think this will fly. I don't think this will go anywhere. But these are the things that the left is going to go after her with, because they don't want the DOJ. They don't want the deep state dismantled. All right. Bondi also served on Trump's short-lived commission on combating drug addiction and the opiate crisis. I shared that his prior administration, and during his prior administration, which was chaired by former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, Bondi made speaking appearances at some Trump rallies during the latter days of the president-elect's campaign. So she is a loyalist. They'll get her for that, just so you're braced for it. All right. Don't be mad at the messenger. I'm just telling you how the left is going to come after her, just so you know. But all in all, I think this is a good pick for Trump. It makes him feel comfortable, makes him know. I mean, he knows that he has a competent loyalist in the AG seat. I just hope that even though there were parts of Matt Gaetz that I did not like, that she will have the element, even albeit with a softer touch, to go up in the DOJ and wreck shop, because that has to happen. And I hope Trump has gotten that commitment from her. I suspect that he has. All right. So that's fascinating news. And I'm glad he got that done so quickly. All right. Another story that I want to bring to your attention real quickly here. I'm going to go through Jackson's 5, if you will. I haven't branded that. I stopped branding that. I don't know why. Maybe I just got lazy. We need to get to that. I've been so inconsistent. Forgive me. Bad host. All right. But this story with Pete Hegseth, just real quickly. I want to share this with you because Pete Hegseth, I want him to be the Secretary of Defense. I think Pete Hegseth, being a warrior that's been on the battlefield, being in theater, three, different, locations and all that kind of stuff, three different times, and knowing the politics of the military and how wars should be fought and should be won. He's written about this stuff in great detail and specificity. I think he will be perfect. I think that he will bring the recruiting crisis will come to an end. It may take a moment, but I think people will be proud to serve under a military that wants to protect the United States of America and kill our enemies. So I think Pete Hegseth will be good for that. Now, the controversy with Pete Hegseth, as I'm sure many of you heard about, and actually, at least reportedly, this kind of threw a wrench in Trump's plans, because apparently he didn't tell them about this non-disclosure agreement, or I shouldn't say that, or at least about this sexual assault claim. So you have this lady that he slept with apparently in 2017, and he was at some Republican event, I think a women's Republican event, I believe it was in California. Both he and the lady had gotten tipsy, apparently. And then let me just read some of it. There was a 22-page report details an incident from 7 years ago when in 2017, Hegseth, then a Fox News celebrity, attended an event for a Republican women's group as a featured speaker. The way the media have related, this is hat tip to the Federalist, the event so far is that a woman in attendance has accused Hegseth of drugging her at an after party before raping her in his hotel room. So you see that, you hear that and you're like, holy crud. And quite frankly, all the reporting that I had been hearing it sounded like it may have been going that way. You know what I'm saying? I didn't necessarily believe it, but that's the reporting that you were hearing out there. Turns out this story is just flipped. It's almost as if now Pete Hegseth, let's be honest, he was out doing the Humpty Hump. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't rape the woman. As a matter of fact, it turns out. All right, it sounds like the woman was the serious aggressor as the story goes on. And here it goes. Outside of the alleged victim's admittedly incomplete recollection, none of the testimony or evidence included in the police report supports that claim. Now, let me be emphatically clear. I'm one of these people. If a woman is raped, I don't care if you shoot the guy. It wasn't that, as we go on with this story. In truth, all of it indicates that the accuser lied to her husband, who was in her hotel room. Wow. While she gallivanted at night with Hegseth and other attendees before voluntarily joining him in his room to have consensual sex. The reports events took place in early October 2017, and it includes multiple eyewitness testimonies and text message evidence of what took place before and after the alleged assault. The alleged victim is identified only as Jane Doe after a night of moderate drinking, during which Doe says she at some point felt she may have been surreptitiously drugged. Doe said she remembered few details, but that she recalled inexplicably finding herself in Hegseth's hotel room, that he, whatever, on her body, ejaculated on her body, and that she thereafter went to her own room to join an unnamed person in bed. Text messages she shared with police indicate the person was her husband and that there were other parties in the room, likely children. All right, so Doe ended up in contact with police after she saw a medical provider to administer a sexual assault exam. The provider was required by California law to tell police of the allegation that was shared by Doe. Doe told police she didn't recall drinking heavily that day, but then later said she did, and that at some point she confronted Hegseth by the hotel pool about the way he had behaved with other women that night, which she found inappropriate. She would also later tell police that she recalled asking Hegseth in his hotel room if he had a condom. Man, so listen, it's pretty graphic. But by all indications, it wasn't a matter of sexual assault. The rest of the report is an overwhelming refutation of the version of events. Included are text exchanges with her husband, wherein she repeatedly mentions Hegseth, but admits that she was spending time with him at the after parties. Testimonies from other women in attendance who said Doe never appeared overserved and in fact seemed completely coherent throughout. Surveillance video footage that showed Doe and Hegseth walking around with locked arms, and a hotel staff member who recalled engaging Doe and Hegseth by the pool, at which time Hegseth was belligerent and Doe guided Hegseth away from the conflict. The report ends with Hegseth's version of events, in which he admits he only initiated sex with Doe after she took him to his room, and says that the two of them repeatedly expressed reservations about the intimacy. He said that the two of them agreed the affair needed to remain secret. If there's one corroborated piece of Doe's story, it's that Hegseth also recalled that she asked him if he had a condom. All right, there's more key moments in the report. She stated that she used a condom when she had sex with her husband after the alleged assault. The explanation for that is redacted, but thereafter the report says, quote, Jane Doe stated she had a vaginal discharge and was diagnosed with bacterial vaginosis that can be used by having multiple sex partners. Text messages with her husband, who was at the conference, showed Doe asking him if he was familiar with Hegseth, referring to him as TDB Light and Mini TDB, which appear to be meant as insults. Oh, man. Okay. Anyway, it goes on. Bunch of drama. But anyway, scandalous story. All right. No doubt about it. It doesn't, it's it's hard to say this, but I just gotta be real. Obviously, this to me sounds like consensual sex. This sounds like a woman, in my opinion, that feels guilty for cheating on her husband and was trying to cover it up. That's what it sounds like to me. I still think Pete Hegseth, despite all of this chaos, would make a great Secretary of Defense. Excuse me. I don't think this. I don't think this knocks him out. I don't think this knocks him out. And obviously, we all have our thoughts of who people are, but people are flawed. People fail, and I'm not making any excuses. I don't think this is. I don't think this knocks him out as being Secretary of Defense, unless Trump decides to kick him to the curb. But I do think that he can pull it off. I think this is a guy that has thought about war and written about war, talked about the military. Obviously, is a hero. 2 Bronze Stars in the military, and I think he or someone like him is needed to be Secretary of Defense. So we'll see where that goes. All right. And in another quick story, Jussie Smollett, his conviction has been overturned in the city of Chicago. I'm going to go through this as well as some comments that Representative Jasmine Crockett made. I'll do that in a separate podcast on race baiting, but we'll talk about the Jussie Smollett story. But I just want to make you aware that his conviction has been overturned. Meanwhile, Daniel Penny is still facing 15 years in prison for saving people from Jordan Neely, who was both on drugs and mentally ill. And should have been institutionalized, in my opinion. Now, there is a video clip that I want to play for you real quick. This is in another piece of news. Oh, and by the way, just as Trump is preparing to take office, not only is the Russia-Ukraine war escalating, as we're sending missiles, ATACMS, U.S. ATACMS, missiles to be able to help Ukraine destroy some of Russia's weaponry. And we're making it known. The UK is helping us out with their versions of ATACMS, if you will. But not only that, the Trump administration are apparently loosening some of the restrictions for illegal aliens to continue to come into the country. And the reason why that's important, let me touch base on another story real quick. Senator Bob Casey finally has conceded his race. Now, they tried to in Bucks County. This city commissioner, actually a couple of them wanted illegals to be able to vote, wanted over 400 illegals to be able to vote. That wouldn't have flipped the election. But the fact that they were willing to do that tells me this is something that they were willing to do before. It also tells me that Democrats are more than willing to allow illegal aliens to come into our country, if just to defeat Republicans at the ballot box. I mean, it's like they don't even think of the major issues. Speaking of not thinking of the major or the not thinking of the negative impacts of illegal immigration, let's play video clip number 11 real quick. Gabe, por favor. This is Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg's assistant was robbed, attacked by an illegal alien with 5 arrests just since last year. He's a Venezuelan gang member and Trinidad Aragua gang member. And basically taxpayers are paying for his hotel that he's living in. Isn't that fabulous? Video clip number 11, por favor, Gabe.
A smiling Brandon Somoza being led out of the Midtown South precinct on West 35th Street this morning. Police say at about 2 a.m. Sunday, he robbed a 38-year-old woman in the hallway of her Hell's Kitchen apartment building. He allegedly grabbed her purse, cell phone, and bank cards and also performed a lewd act. The victim is a Manhattan assistant DA. She was not injured. Police traced her stolen cell phone to a hotel on West 45th Street, which led them to believe the suspect is a migrant, and they were able to track him down. Somoza was arrested just last night. Police say he was using drugs on the street and had stolen items with him. Police believe he is part of Tren de Aragua. That's the Venezuelan gang that has preyed on people in Times Square and Central Park. Somoza is facing a number of counts, including sexually motivated robbery and burglary. He also has 6 prior arrests, all from this year on similar crimes. And he's believed to have arrived in the U.S. in February of 2023. In Lower Manhattan, Lauren Glassberg, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right. So, honestly, this is what they call poetic justice. You live in one of these sanctuary cities. You're an advocate for illegal immigration, and you're one of the victims of that illegal immigration. Now, this is an assistant to Alvin Bragg, but I'm assuming that this assistant is probably just as woke as Alvin Bragg is. You know, forgive me if I'm wrong, but this is what you call poetic justice. If these people could be, I hate to wish this stuff on anyone, but I'm just saying this is poetic justice. Perhaps something like this, without them having to be hospitalized or seriously injured, needs to happen to all of these woke fools. Let them get a piece of their own medicine. You know, they inviting all these illegals in and letting them stay in and releasing them from jail. And their citizens in their communities get beat up. Maybe some of these leaders and get robbed and all this kind of stuff. Maybe if some of these leaders feel the pain, and I'm not advocating for anything. I'm just saying this is poetic justice if I've ever seen any. All right. So let me just close it up with this. I just want to give you a couple of more, just a couple of, let's see. The Nancy Mace trans bathroom issue is still going on. Nancy Mace, Representative Nancy Mace, basically won that battle. I am looking for Justice Department, okay. Okay, and also you have Ray and Mayorkas are snubbed the Senate panel with a no-show to their hearing today. So Alejandro Mayorkas and of the Department of Homeland Security head and Christopher Wray snubbed the Senate panel. And of course they did, the Intel panel. Of course they did. They know their days are numbered. They know they're going bye-bye as soon as Trump is in, but they're causing as much chaos while they are there. This is so sad to me. I just wanted to cover one more story. I'm trying to find it. I just want to make sure I bring this to you. I know everybody will be talking about it tomorrow, and so will I, as I will be in for Dennis Prager. But Biden has basically loosened up. Forgive me. I just want to make sure that I give you the correct details as illegal aliens are coming into the country. Let's see if I can find the headline. I had it, and for some reason, oh man, we can after HHS loses contact. Momentum built in Canada. Now Australia to ban teens from TikTok. Senator Roger Ray failure publicly testified slap in the face. Iran Trump won because, okay, Manhattan. All right, Whoopi Goldberg saying Elon Musk is the actual vice president. Anyway, I don't have the story right in front of me, but basically the Biden administration is loosening up regulations to allow illegal aliens to continue to flood the country. They're trying to do as much damage as they can before Trump gets in office. They're trying to set so many things in motion before he gets in office, spending money on climate change, tens of billions of dollars on green, energy nonsense right before he gets in, whatever they can do. It's insane. It's insane. We've got to get a hold of the government spending, the executive branch being able to spend willy-nilly without any input from Congress is insane. I'm actually getting so excited about this Doge Commission. I think this could be a blessing or a curse, and I'm erring on the side of blessing if they can make the recommendations, and if Republicans have the backbone to get things done, and if they can be persuasive as well to convince some Democrats to do some serious cuts when it comes to spending. I'll talk about this on Prager's show, and perhaps I'll get into it tomorrow on our podcast. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Again, let me just reiterate the Democrats may regret torpedoing, and maybe even some Republicans, Matt Gaetz. Pam Bondi isn't a flamethrower. She's not a firebrand like Matt Gaetz, but she's effective. I think she can be efficient. What I do wonder is, will she go as far as I suspect Matt Gaetz would have gone in gutting the DOJ, and going after and holding people accountable that were doing things that they had no business doing if it were illegal inside of the DOJ. I suspect she will do that. She was a good, again, AG for the state of Florida. Again, there was some controversy at the end of her that she denied. She denied it all. I have no reason not to believe her. But obviously, that's going to be what the left will hit her with. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you. Hey, Carl Jackson here for My Pillow. The story of My Pillow is a testament of faith and transformation. Mike Lindell, once battling addiction, found a new path when he embraced faith and began following Jesus. In gratitude, Mike is excited to share an exclusive offer with our listeners. Right now, the standard My Pillow is available for $14.88, a savings that's too good to pass up, especially as we head into Christmas season. There's a limit, however, of 10 per customer, so don't wait to take advantage of this amazing deal right now using the promo code CARL, C-A-R-L. Mike believes God gave him the idea for My Pillow in a dream, and it's designed with your comfort in mind. The pillow holds its shape and adapts perfectly to your unique sleep position, helping keep your neck aligned for the best night's sleep. And there's more. Take home a 4-piece kitchen set for only $25. Enjoy the new mattress topper starting at just $99.99, or pick up the luxurious My Pillow bed sheets starting at $49.98. Visit mypillow.com or give them a call at 800-858-0263 and use promo code CARL to unlock huge discounts. Don't miss out. Order today.